you one, but... So, good morning. Today's subject, carrying on from yesterday and Monday, we're looking at habitats. And we are today looking at habitats. Good morning, Lynn. Nice of you to join us. We're looking at habitats that are pretty gross. Now, with regards to the worksheets, I'm going to get you to fill in the one with the sands. Now, the reason I'm choosing the sands one today is because a lot of people don't realise how much kind of these tropical places do have lots and lots of microorganisms, and that's what we're going to be looking at today. So you can, on your top picture, draw bigger animals that might live there, what you think might live there, but then on the bottom ones, draw the smaller ones. We can have a good look to see which animals would live in more desert areas rather than soily, filthy areas. Morning, Tim. So, today for my habitat, I've got a pretty special habitat to show you. Now, I just want to give you some ideas on, we've spoke literally the last few weeks about the amount of animals that live in these different habitats. Now, I always think, and this is just a personal preference, yes, Oliver, yeah, that's the correct one. Now, my personal preference is when we talk about numbers, people often say, 2 football fields. Well, without seeing it, I'm definitely I like to see numbers, as in see spaces rather than talk about the numbers. So, just as an example, I have got you some pretty amazing creatures to show you today. Now, I can't even put a guess on how many of these creatures I own, but we're talking thousands. Now, they are microorganisms, very, very tiny, tiny creatures, but the job they do is substantial. We cannot get away from the amazing job they do. A bit like the NHS, they do an amazing job, but these guys also do an amazing job for us. Now, when I say an amazing job for us, they do a job that literally keeps everything ticking over. Now, when I say ticking over, they don't run on a belt, keeping electric going, but what they do is they help break down vegetation, they help break down rubbish, and I've actually got an amazing creature to show you that I think, do you remember my statement the other day when I said about there is certain animals that can eat plastic? That may be the creme de la creme of animals, because they can do something for us that's amazing. Now, what I'm going to show you is a habitat that is amazing. I think it's amazing. And I'd love to say I've put a lot of work into it, but I haven't. And that's the joy of some habitats. They don't need a lot of work going into them. You can literally find a habitat in your garden. You can find micro habitats in your garden. Literally, if you pick a stone up, like we did yesterday, Oliver, you'll know what I mean. When we went to the duck pond, we picked a stone up, and there was worms under there. That is a micro habitat. So we can find habitats anywhere we go. Good morning, Thea. Good morning, honey. And yes, Tim, just a little bit smaller than me. Yes, so micro habitats. We've got them everywhere. We've literally got them everywhere. And what I want to show you, yesterday when we went out on the members group, when we went out on up to the duck pond, we didn't actually find a right lot. Now, when I say we didn't find a right lot, we looked under a stone where the water were, and we did find a worm, which, when we look at habitats in general, we can when I said before about I prefer to see something rather than kind of if you give me the numbers. It's, if you give me the numbers, I'm a bit, all right, you know, I know the big numbers. But if you show me a scale of you know, the number, if you show me the size of the place, it's, you know, it's so much easier to understand. So what I've got for you is I've got a little pot, and what I'm going to do is with my spoon, that's what I had my breakfast with this morning. I didn't really. But morning, Angela. I didn't really have my breakfast with that this morning. But what I want to show you is I do underestimate my animal enclosures. But this one is one that I don't do anything to. Now, when I say don't do anything to, it is a micro habitat. I could say micro ecosystem because, oh, hang on. I'm just going to have to get rid of that a minute so I can see what I'm showing you. Now, hopefully you'll stay there. Now, believe it or not, there's thousands of creatures that live in here, but generally not on the upper area. They are all down in the soil. And if we use my breakfast spoon, I had my breakfast in this one. Now I should tell you, in here we've got cockroaches, we've got tropical wood lice, we have springtails. Now, if you don't know anything about springtails, I promise you, you're going to want to after this, because they are such amazing, honestly, I can't big them up enough. If you think cockroaches are amazing, springtails are pretty, they're almost like superheroes, but they don't wear a cape. Now what I'm going to do is, I'm literally going to scoop up a bit of soil, and we're just going to look at how many springtails we can see in the soil. Please don't let me down. See, there's the upside and downside of... So for the guys who are working on the worksheets, what I want you to do now is I want you to draw some springtails on your worksheets. So now, let's see if we can actually see in it. I know there is some in there, because I can see, just for looking, I can see quite a number. So let's just see. Not that one. Can you? Right. See? The guys are doing a live video. So. Just gonna... Ah! Got you one. Oh no, that is actually... Okay. Now the hard thing is the colour of them. I'm just going to end up with soil all over now. But that is the joys. Can you see how small that is? So that isn't actually a springtail, that is a tropical wood lice. But it's a baby. See. There we go, it's moving. Ooh, don't fall off. But these guys help break down all the other animals' poo. So we spoke about Millie the millipede. We said she poos literally to help keep the soil healthy, but then the animals that live in the soil do an amazing job of breaking poo down. It's okay, I'm going to wash my hands after this, don't you worry. Just looking to see if I can actually find springtails. They really are fantastic at hiding. Springtails are tiny, really, really tiny. So if anyone's got any tips of filming tiny things, apart from me, obviously, don't think my camera's good enough. Let me see if I can see them. Let me see if I can, just bear with me guys. See if I can get a better view. See if I can, that's it. Look at that for the picture. Anyway. Oh, did you see it? That is a springtail. Although we're expecting to see more than one. Oh, here we go. Can you see? Look how tiny, tiny, tiny they are. It's not even focusing on... Oh, I love getting muddy fingers. How amazing. So, sorry guys, sending you on a Blackpool. So you can see, just literally from scooping out a bit of that soil, how rich in life just that small amount is. So can you imagine actually the whole tank? The whole tank. Now I should say I do keep my baby cockroaches in there. But also what happens in there is things die. That's one thing about life, is things die. Now everything in there literally works its magic and breaks everything down. I mean, I can literally show you. There is still pieces of insects, but everything else has rotted away and everything else has helped each other in that to break things down. So when I put food in there, what happens is my food kind of goes through a cycle. So the animals that eat vegetables such as the tortoises, anything that goes to waste, a lot of it will go into this tank. They will then break it down, and then what actually happens, obviously because there's things breeding in there like the spring worms. Exactly, Aaron. A lot of animals. So when they each do their job, as long as they're doing it correctly, it won't build up to be a smelly, horrible mess. 'Cause I promise you, it is pretty minging what goes in there, but it doesn't smell. It smells of soil. It smells of earth. It doesn't smell disgusting, and that's life. Because things live in there, that proves that actually it's a successful habitat. Okay. So yesterday we went up to the duck pond, and because it's stagnant water, it does smell a little bit, but there's still life that lives there. Some pretty minging things, I don't doubt, probably live there. And some pretty mingings probably go into the water. Hence, I did have gloves and everything on yesterday. But it's the same for any habitat. You get your gross things that live there. But as long as they work together, literally, the system works. As long as you have your cycle. Do you remember me telling you about Millie the millipede? Let's get her. Let's get Millie. So, remember me telling you about how Millie helps keep the rainforest working? And we said what she will do is, it's a bit like a circle. So the leaves will fall off the tree. When the leaves fall off the tree, they hit the floor. But then, that's where these come into play. Animals that help break rubbish down. Now, once Millie starts eating those dead leaves, she'll then need to poo. But then when she poos, what's actually happening is that poo, Millie's poo, will actually help, again, grow the leaves on the trees because she's actually full of nutrients. And that's the same as the microorganisms, the springtails and the tropical wood lice. As long as everything's working in harmony, that's what makes a fantastic and a successful habitat. I do have to say, she's ace, isn't she? She's ace. So, can I show you an animal now that is pretty amazing, literally, at breaking down plastic? Now, I want to do a bit of a shout out here because there is a fantastic, amazing lady doing some amazing work, and I should have brought my book in actually. There's a book called Extraordinary Insects. Now, I do like to read books. I've got so many books, mostly big biology books and crazy books. I've got Steve Bagshall, I've got David Attenborough, but I start reading them, and to be honest, if you haven't captured my interest within, you know, maybe 2, if you get to 2, maybe 3 pages, then I put them down. So I've got a lot of books, but I haven't read them. But then I thought, oh, I'm going to have a look at this book. Started reading it, and her humour is fantastic. You know, when you just get somebody, it just, yeah, and it's such an easy read, but comical. And honestly, I'm going to put together a little workshop, a little funny workshop to learn about different animals. And I'm going to use some really interesting facts out of the book, and that's where this fact came from, because to be totally honest, I knew that we did have some insects and things that did or could get rid of plastic, but couldn't really kind of put my name on the certain ones. So, saying that, I'm going to pop Millie away. I'm glad she's come out. She's ace, isn't she? So, let's have a look at this next animal and pop her back. Oh. So, I speak about an animal. It sounds like literally a mythical creature. An animal that can break plastic down. But there is. So, it's really, really terrible, really, because these... Don't keep these as pets. I don't take them out to show people, because actually these are food for some of my animals. Can you see what they are? They are mealworms. Literally mealworms. Can you see? See, and these guys, although they are only very, very tiny, they can do some pretty amazing work. Ugh, I remember when I was younger, my stepdad used to go fishing and he had maggots. I would just not. And obviously they are a larva. They do grow into something else. Actually, I'll do a post. Life cycle, sorry, couldn't even think then. I'll do a life cycle post and I'll show you what actually all about larvae and pupae and what things turn into. Some animals go through, I've probably mentioned this before, metamorphosis, which is a complete change. Hang on, sorry. So let's have a bit of... Well, they're in a plastic pot. And if we actually look underneath, let me find one. See the legs? They do have legs. They have 6. Look at the head. How amazing. I have actually tried a couple of times to breed Sorry, I know my connection isn't fantastic, but I do hope you're all managing. Sorry, I'm really sorry. I've got like sweat dripping down my back. I'm red hot. But yeah, how amazing that we can literally kind of break down plastic. There's animals that can actually break down plastic. So, guys, I do have to remember now definitely not to touch my face. Worksheets. Have you managed to mark anything down on your worksheets? So we spoke about the microorganisms that live in soil. You will find microorganisms that live in sand as well. Things just don't disappear. Things do break down, do you know? Do I know? So Oliver's just asked an interesting question. Do you know who was the first person to discover that frogs eat with their eyes? I don't. But you know me and my questions, Oliver. I am going to mark that down and I will find out. There were, who discovered? So I will get back to you on that one. Again, I love it. Ask me questions that I don't know. Honestly, it gives me something to do, and in general, I find out more than I bargained for. I do enjoy it. I do enjoy it. So, guys, thank you so much. I don't even know what time it is. I ain't got, it's a long story. I ain't got my watch on. But thank you so much for watching. Tomorrow, you like tomorrow's video, we are looking at habitats where we would like to live. So guys, have a think today, have a think of different habitats where you would like to live and why you would like to live there. And if you do live in those certain habitats, how can you protect yourself from the weather maybe? If it's sunshine, if you'd like to think of yourself as living on a desert. If you would like to, yeah, how would you protect yourself from the sun? If you were a desert animal, how would you protect yourself from the sun? Or if you would like to live somewhere nice and cold. I love the snow, so I think if I lived somewhere where it snowed all the time, how would I keep myself warm? Remember, we can thermoregulate, we can keep ourselves warm, but we would still need help to keep ourselves warm if you lived in a snowy environment all the time. So have a think for tomorrow, and we will look at ideal habitats where we would personally like to live. So thank you guys so much for watching. 10 o'clock tomorrow, be there, be square, TTFN.